safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
It's not Bond and Batman, it's the boys from the borough, Senzo and Brent. So great to be with you, and this is Safari Live. Ready?
Standing by.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
Morning and welcome to the middle of the African bush for your sunrise safari. As I said, it's the boys from the borough on the vehicle. My name is Brent Smith. I have Senzo on camera, and we share a hometown where we were born, called Pietermaritzburg. Now we are heading to the northwestern corner of this beautiful part of the world, and we're hoping to find some fresh lion tracks of the incredible Inkahumas. And it is a little bit overcast this morning, but I think the cloud is going to break up quite quickly. It's 24 degrees Celsius, mid-70s Fahrenheit, and quite pleasant temperature at the moment. Not too hot, not too cold. And at the moment, the only tracks I've seen are that of a single elephant bull walking down the road in the direction we're heading. So hopefully, before we start tracking the lions, we might be able to start our morning with a great grey pachyderm. Now, if you want to get hold of us, because believe it or not only are we live from the middle of the African bush, we can also take your questions, and I would love to hear from you. Send me a question, let me know where you're watching from, and since we haven't found anything at the moment, I'm opening it up. You can send questions on any topic about Southern Africa, Africa, migrations, animals, people in camp, and if you want to ask any questions, use the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, and all of us will do our best to answer you. Now, of course, it's not only the boys from the borough out on safari this morning. We have Bond and Batman, and we also have Byron and Fergus. Fergus is the latest member to join the Safari Live family. So let's go see how their meanderings on foot are going this morning.
And we have just got out of camp. We are on bushwalk this morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Byron, and I do indeed have Fergus on camera with me. And Fergus, as Brent said, is one of our new members of the Safari Live team. So it's, it looks like a beautiful morning, nice cool morning. It's good to be back. I've been away for a little while, a very short while. But I'm looking forward to this morning's walk. We are going to go and see if we can find out where those male lions went from yesterday. Just see which direction they could have moved right off of the property, but we're going to head into their last position, have a look, see what tracks we can find, and hopefully we might be able to find them on foot this morning. Wouldn't that be great? So, but it is a lovely cool morning, so I think it's ideal for a bushwalk, and it's quite overcast, so it's still, I wouldn't say dark, but we do still have to be very, very aware in weather like this, because it's not as light as we would like it to be. I've seen some really interesting tracks so far, just walking around. Just want to show you one quickly. Here is a lovely hyena track. So this would have been from last night. You can see it's actually on top of the vehicle tracks that drove through here during the course of yesterday. So this track is from last night. There's the back pad of the hyena, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 toes heading in that direction. So most likely just moving around, looking for food, scavenging. But there have been a lot of interesting tracks. I'm trying to see, there was one earlier that I saw. See if I can find it again. There's a track of a civet, but a beautiful clear track of a civet. But it was further back, just outside camp. Now, the civets are nocturnal. They move around at night, but we very seldom see them. They're very shy little animals. I haven't seen a civet on Djuma yet, on Safari Live, but they definitely are around. We see their tracks almost every day, but to find them is not that easy. So we'll see what else we can find there. I love these early mornings, walking around and having a look at what interesting tracks we can find. Yesterday afternoon we saw some very interesting tracks. We got to see that track of what I thought was a python, perhaps. Beautiful python track across the road, very, very thick snake track. I'm almost certain it was a python. And then also a crocodile track, which was very interesting to see. That was wonderful to see, walking down the road. And fortunately, I've worked in an area where we got to see crocodile tracks fairly regularly. So, it is easy to identify it. And what they do is during the evenings, they'll walk from one waterhole to another, or from a dam to a river. They do walk along the roads. It's a nice big path for them. And the crocodile track, it looks almost like a monitor lizard, but obviously much, much larger. And those heavy tails leave very prominent drag marks in the sand behind them. And then you are able to see the foot marks and the claw marks of the crocodiles, and the scales underneath the palm very, very clearly. So that's what you would look for if you were looking at a crocodile track. So it was an interesting track to see yesterday, because I've never seen a crocodile on Djuma. So. But it wasn't a very big one. It was definitely a young crocodile. So perhaps pushed out of a big dam, or maybe looking for a little dam to settle in. Especially with the seasons changing, I suppose. They would be looking to establish perhaps a little territory for themselves. Or a new waterhole, maybe looking for females, looking to mate. So I'm not sure. Now, David, you asked, do crocodiles ever hunt on land? David, I've never seen it, but I'm sure they would. And when I say hunt on land, they would probably run just outside of the waterhole. They'd probably run across a section of land to catch something. But in terms of when they are walking and hunting, it's highly unlikely. They're not quick enough for that type of hunting, and they're just not built for it. So probably running maybe from one section of a waterhole to another across a sandbank or something like that. Yes, they could possibly run and chase something, but in terms of moving from one waterhole to another and hunting, I think it's very unlikely. I've never heard of it, so I don't think so. But you notice I say it's unlikely, and I haven't heard of it and I've learned one thing in the bush: it's never a never. What was that? So something just caught my eye. You know what I think it was? I think it was one of the quails, the button quails, just disappeared in through the long grass. So as I was saying, David, the one thing is that you never know what's going to happen in the bush. Things always happen, and there's never a guarantee or a set rule that animals won't do one thing or will do one thing. But anyway, we're going to continue on our walk now. I think it's time that you go and say good morning to James.
Hello everybody, good morning. Yes, it's lovely to be with you again on this Wednesday morning, which I thought was a Tuesday. But Craig corrected me. Craig is on camera today. My name is James Henry. That's Craig's thumb there. Wonderful. And our plan this morning is to try and find a leopard. I was going to go towards where Tawny and Tumba were yesterday, but I believe they've moved off the kill. There are tracks of leopards all over the place, which normally means that you don't find any leopards, so we'll see what happens during the course of the morning. Hashtag Safari Live is how you get hold of us. Ask us questions, send us your comments, and maybe tell us what it is that you would like to see and who it is that you would like to see. I have no doubt Karula is definitely a leopard that you would like to see. They did have tracks of a female following Tingana down towards a reserve called Annette's, which is not somewhere we can go. Is that female perhaps our long-lost queen, or is it Tawny? We don't know, but hopefully we'll find out at some stage during the drive. So that is the general modus operandi for today. No doubt the plans that I have made will turn out not to come to fruition, and others will come up, raise their heads, and provide us with entertainment. There is a lesser spotted cuckoo. Ah, that will be a very good view of a lesser spotted cuckoo. Do you see it, Craig? That's not a lesser spotted cuckoo, is it, Craig? It is an African cuckoo. Now, every time you look at an African cuckoo, it's very important that you assess whether it is in fact an African cuckoo or a European cuckoo, because they look almost identical, but for a piece of yellow on the beak. And the European cuckoo is much less common here, and is totally silent in Africa. I think that is an African cuckoo on account of the fact that it has a black-tipped beak. Let's just keep looking at it. I will try and find the picture. I have forgotten which one is which. Oh, it's found a caterpillar to eat. Delicious. Craig, have you ever eaten a caterpillar? You weren't one of those people at school who ate your silkworms, were you? So I knew people at school that used to eat silkworms. Disgusting. Now, the European or common cuckoo has got, yes, he's got a totally dark top of the beak and yellow underneath, but he's also got a sort of brownish rufous stripe around the neck. So that is almost certainly an African cuckoo, which sounds like, if you listen to them calling, they sound a little bit like drunk hoopoes. They go, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." Ooh, there are two African cuckoos now. Now this is interesting, because at this time of the year you would probably expect them to, well, you wouldn't expect them to be mating, and if you were looking at any other bird species and you saw them sort of hanging out together, you'd assume that one of them was a juvenile and one a parent. That is almost certainly a juvenile, because it's very scruffy. But of course with the cuckoos that isn't the case. You do not get adults and juveniles together unless it's quite by chance, and that's because they never meet their parents. Or they might meet their parents, but they probably don't know that they're their parents. Isn't that nice? And I think the two birds that have just flown over the top of us were their hosts for the year. I'm pretty sure that this lot parasitized a group of starlings. Let me just check. I think they were probably Cape Glossies in this area. Cuckoo. They are brood parasite of the fork-tailed drongo. Well, that looks like a fork-tailed drongo could easily have lived in that very tree. There are holes in it. Fork-tailed drongo is a hole-nesting bird, as far as I remember. Pretty sure it is. So while I contemplate the vagaries of cuckoo life and the dastardly deeds that they perform at the behest of their genetic code, as I said across to Brent Leo Smith, who apparently is going to answer thousands of questions.
Well, this morning just doesn't get much better. So it is Taxon from Djuma's birthday. So I was busy singing happy birthday to him on the radio, and it just sparked this. As I finished, the next guide started singing, the next guide started singing, and it ended up with, "How old are you now? How old are you now, dear Taxon?" And his reply was 25 and a half, which he is not, but yes. There's quite a lot of jovial ongoings on the radio this morning. But quickly, before I answer all the questions, I've spotted something on the road, and I can only think it has to be Mr. Tingana. Wow, this leopard can walk. There he is. Now, yesterday he went south down the Cheetah Plains driveway. He was not found. He was heard calling around Chitwa last night, heading west. And here we've got him heading northwest. And I mean, if this is Tingana, and it is definitely a male leopard, he's done 12 to 15 kilometers already. So I think I'm just going to have a quick look on these tracks, and let's answer some questions while I do that. Hi, Linda! Linda would like to know if I can share any Easter traditions in South Africa. Well, most of the traditions would be quite similar, apart from the fact, actually, we've got a safari live Easter tradition, and that is hiding Easter eggs in the middle of the bush and never being able to find them again. So, well, they're not chocolate eggs. We just did some painted boiled eggs, because in case we couldn't find them, some animal's going to have a lovely free meal, and chocolate is not very good for a lot of the animals, so no chocolate, but that's probably one of them, and we're probably going to try hide some Easter eggs again this year. Now, Crystal, I'm sorry I'm not looking, but I just need to see where Mr. Tingana has gone, whether he crossed into Djuma. His tracks are here. No, he's carrying on straight. And Crystal would like me to speak Afrikaans. Senzo, what should I say? Let's say, good morning, how are you? Goeiemôre, hoe gaan het? Het is baie lekker hier op safari. Ons kyk vir 'n leopard en miskien sal ons hom vind. Now, what I said there was, good morning, how are you? It's so wonderful to be on safari. We're looking for a leopard, and maybe we'll find him. Lauren would like to know why I call James Commander Bond, because James, let's see how to answer this tactfully. James seems to think he and James Bond are kindred spirits, and and of course James is our own very special secret agent, so that's why we call him Commander Bond. And good morning, Option. Pug Somatic would like to know how often wild dogs are spotted on the reserve, and that all depends, of course. And I can't see any more leopard tracks, but it all depends. Sometimes we actually see them quite regularly. There's certain times a year we sometimes see them 4 or 5 times a week, but we can go months without seeing them, and it all depends. And that's only in our little Traverse area, but I'd say over the whole Sabi Sands, wild dogs are probably spotted once every 2 or 3 days. Let's just make sure he didn't go down there. He did not. I think his tracks are underneath that car that just drove past us. And we just need one track to confirm that. Hi Dina! Dina wonders, can we see secretary birds in the winter? Dina, we can see secretary birds in the summer. They have quite a large home range, and they have quite a specific sort of set of needs, so they do appear from time to time. We have seen them on the Arathusa airstrip, and we've also seen them on Cheetah Plains quite a few times. Now, I'm just going to go back a little bit and make sure I haven't missed any of those leopard tracks that we're following. That's a wonderful thing. We started looking for lions, now we've got leopards, but it seems like James has a tiny feathered friend to introduce to you.
Good morning again, everyone. There is a little bee eater and the little bee-eater is sitting on a thorn bush. I was just having a conversation with Elvis there, who's come from Jukana, which is quite near Cheetah Plains, and he was just trying to tell me where he thinks Tundi has gone. So the little bee-eater is a beautiful little bird, and while we try and find it again, if you've got it there, well done, Craig. I must just tell you, I talked nonsense to you about the nesting habits of the fork-tailed drongo. They live in a cup. They don't nest in holes at all, and so that is where that cuckoo would have been born sometime this year. Isn't that a gorgeous bird? It is the only bee-eater species. It's the only bee-eater species that is here full-time. The white-fronted is slightly, well, I mean, it should be here all the time, but they seem to be nomadic. They come in and then they disappear. And then the carmine and the European bee-eaters, of course, are both migratory species. Isn't that gorgeous? They look like two happy little chums talking about the morning, deciding which insects they're going to eat. One of them now getting seasick as he shakes about on the same tree. And the good thing about a little bee-eater often is that they come back to the same perch. And so if you are looking at them and you're wanting to take a photograph of them, if you find them on a perch close by, they often come back to it. Of course, not when I say they're going to. Oh, 3 of them. One of them's gone back to the same perch. There it is. And does the bee-eater eat bees is often the question that is asked, and the answer is absolutely it eats bees. Apparently there is some mechanism that it uses to stop itself being affected too badly by the stings which are sort of impressed upon it by the hapless bees that it swallows. Otherwise, all is peace here at the Chitwa Dam. There are some weavers calling in the distance. They're all sitting over there on that big colony there on the dead tree. And I can just hear them calling away there. And then, Craig, on this bush in front of us, there is one of the weavers. And I know that you probably saw the vehicle there and that fencing. That fencing comes from the Chitwa camp, and that vehicle is from Jukana. That's Elvis, phenomenal tracker. He's taking his guests on a game drive. Now this is an interesting one because the eye of that bird, you might notice, seems to be plain white. Now that's quite cool, because that means that it is not a southern masked weaver. Could it be a lesser masked weaver? Unusual, not impossible, but unusual in this area. Let me check my book for other defining features. It is indeed a lesser masked weaver. That's very cool. So the masked weaver and the spotted-backed weaver both have got red eyes, and the lesser masked has got that white eye and the much larger mask. Kristen, you want to know if bee-eaters are related to hummingbirds? In so much as you are related to an elephant? Yes. Closer than that? Absolutely not. They are totally different, and I think what you're looking for here in South Africa, I'll find you a picture, would be something called a sunbird. Just about to drop something on the floor. A sunbird would be something that looks like a hummingbird, but in fact is also not related. And what you have is a situation where when Gondwana land or Pangaea, not quite the same thing, but when basically the world split up from being one enormous continent, the North or the New World, so the Americas, split off from the Old World. What am I looking for again? Sunbirds. That's right. They split off from the Old World, and what you have is a situation where different birds, or unrelated birds and unrelated creatures, develop the same strategies for dealing with similar ecological conditions. So these are the sunbirds, which look relatively similar to the hummingbirds. You can see they've got a long probing beak, and that long probing beak is what is used to drink nectar in the same way that hummingbirds are. They don't hover like hummingbirds though. They can, but they don't do it in the same way. And they're not related to hummingbirds. And they're not related because they evolved in a completely different part of the world. But the same strategy has evolved in hummingbirds and sunbirds, or a similar strategy to get at the nectaries of flowers. Now, a bee-eater is not related to either of these, no. They're just very colourful. Mary Kay, you say is a bee-eater a ground bird? No, not at all. A bee-eater is an almost entirely aerial bird, and let me try and find a picture of the wing structure. Bee-eaters have got very sort of triangular-shaped wings with a wide surface area, so that a little bit like a swift, they're able to fly around and catch or hawk insects in the air. And so they're not ground-dwelling birds in the slightest. They hawk insects from a perch and then fly back up to the perch, and sometimes they just fly around in the sky. I can't see anything with any of the wing structure here. No, I don't have a picture of the wing structure, I'm afraid. Anyway, so the bee-eaters, no, they fly around, they hawk insects. Let's have a pan out over the bushes. Lance, you want to know which birds don't migrate? Lance, how long have you got? About 60% of the birds that we 60% of the birds that we get here don't migrate. So I'm not going to go through all 140 or so species that don't migrate. I've mentioned the bee-eaters. None of the sunbirds migrate. We've got a number of weavers here. They don't migrate. Very few of none of the sparrows migrate. None of the finches. There's some waterbuck up there. You see them there? They're just lying on the ground. There you are. What else have we seen today? Some of the eagles. Egyptian geese don't migrate. None of the franklins migrate. So there are lots and lots of birds. About 60% of our birds I don't think migrate. There are the waterbuck, enjoying a late morning. Rather like many of the guides of the Sabi Sand, they have a sleeping sickness. I think those hapless antelope spend a lot of time snoozing. And what have we seen? Ooh, and some gorgeous fish eagles. Alrighty, let's head back across to Byron. He is looking at the evidence of something that would make all of you go, ah.
James, yeah, well, it looks like a snake track, everybody, but this is very interesting. Now, I'll tell you why it's interesting is if we have a look, and I don't want to stand on all these tracks, but have a look around here. There's a lot of flattening of the sand, so there was definitely snake activity in this area. You can see it very flat, very, very smooth. But what I'd like to know is this. I think what has happened here is that one of two possibilities. Because there's a huge, and this is not just a regular snake track which has moved across an area. This entire area is covered by snake tracks. So I think there are one of two things which may have happened here. Perhaps there were two snakes which actually met, and perhaps they mated. Now, I'll say why I think that is because of all the movement that I can see around here. There's a lot of tails that have dug into the ground. You can see that it's very smooth and flat over here. So very possibly that could be one instance. The other thing I think may have happened is perhaps a snake actually caught a bird on the ground last night. Maybe a snake was coming along and managed to catch a bird and was wrestling with it a little bit, and that's caused all this movement around this area. So I think that's probably the two possibilities of what happened here. But then I can just see that one snake went that way, or the only snake. I'm not sure. There does look like another track leading off to the side, but I'm not sure. But I can see the track then becomes very clear over here again. and then we followed all the way along here, and you can see how smooth and clear that is. And then it looks like the snake went into the grass over here, and you can see how it basically come up this little bit of a hill, and it turned and pushed the side of its body against the sand to move up, and off it went into the bush. So I think that's what happened here, is that possibly a snake killed something, ate it, but that was the struggle that we can see happening over here. It's very, very interesting. I haven't seen a track like this for quite some time. It's nice to see tracks. Like I said, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe two snakes mating, or maybe one managed to catch something, kill it, and then slither off and move off into the bush. So very interesting. And like I said, now, Justin, you asked how exactly do snakes mate? Well, Justin, once the male finds a female, and they'll obviously pick up on where each other are through the scent in the air. They'll use their tongue, pick up on the scent, find one another. Most snakes, what happens is they'll intertwine, or entwine around each other, and what happens is the male will mate with the female that way, but they basically move over each other and one another, move around quite a lot, but they'll twirl around one another, and that's how the snakes mate. So it is quite a lot of movement, and it's a lot of interaction. Now, Swift, you say, could it have been perhaps one snake eating another snake? That is also a possibility. So if a snake killed another snake there, it does happen. A number of species of snakes will kill other snakes. There's some cobra species we get out here which will kill snakes. We've got, the snouted cobras in this area, perhaps. I've never seen a snouted cobra, but we do get them around here, and they'll feed on other snakes. A puff adder, perhaps, if they catch a puff adder, they will, or other smaller snakes. It can happen, so that is a possibility there. It's difficult to say, but there was a lot of activity there. Something happened between one or two snakes. So it was either one that managed to kill something, or there was a bit of a struggle between two different snakes, or mating. One of those two options, I'm not sure. Now, we're just trying to have a look. Now, I'm in the position where the male lions were yesterday. We're going to have a good look around here to see if we can't find tracks of theirs, to see which direction they went. Let's head back to Brent, who's still looking for Tingana, and hopefully he's got some luck.
Welcome back, so wonderful to have you with us. So last tracks of Tingana are pretty much opposite us now, and they went into this thick bush area, so we're just doing a loop around the edge. We're hoping his tracks are going to come out, and no report on anything else just yet from the west. It seems quite quiet, so this is our best chance. And I always love a good tracking session, and I love having you on the back with me while I track, and you can see there's some method to my madness. So we're going to check now Impala Road very slowly. If we have no tracks on Impala Road, I'm going to go to last tracks again, and then I'll probably take a little walk. Now, Tingana can be quite difficult on foot. He likes to sneak away from you. He slinks off. So let's hope he's not in a slinky mood. And good morning, Impalas. Oh, the light coming through at the moment is very beautiful, and yeah, Impala are such graceful antelope, so in this light they just look spectacular. Hi guys. As I said, that cloud cover breaking up quite quickly, and we're getting these wonderful rays of light shining through. Now, it's always good to know where the big herds of Impala are, because if Tingana does come here, we'll hear the highly agitated snorting of an alarmed Impala. Oh, even cooler! just quickly go all the way off to the left there, Sensor. There's a wildebeest rolling in the dust. Hello, GNU. And you can just see the dust. Hopefully he's going to roll again. Wildebeest are avid rollers, and on their little patches of open ground and short grass areas that the big bulls like this guy like to keep, you'll often find these bare patches of sand actually caused by them rolling. Don't be shy now. It's okay to roll. Now you can see, oh, I've pulled my ears out by accident. You can see he's one of the big dominant bulls now. He's not the quarantine bull. Look at that. And one of my favorite sounds at the moment, which we'll hear, I'm going to keep quiet in a second, but you'll hear the Karachani button quails as well, just booming. Okay, well, the wildebeest is being shy. It doesn't seem like he wants to give us another roll. And it seems like Byron's on a roll with an animal that barely ever rolls.
Now, I'm going to keep my voice very, very low because we've just found a beautiful herd of elephants, but they're drinking. Now, they're different ages. There's some youngsters. I can see a few babies there. They are drinking at the moment, so I don't want to disturb them. And fortunately, we are downwind, so they haven't picked up that we are here yet. What a wonderful, wonderful sighting. There's beautiful light coming through now on them too. And they're just happily drinking at that pan. Oh, this is really, really great. Why don't we try another little angle, Fergus? Follow me. Now stay with us. We're just going to have a look around some trees. I think we'll have a lovely view from over here. Just through there. There we go. Look at that. Wow, this is really wonderful. We're nice and close. They're probably about 40 or 50 meters away from us. So now with a herd of elephant, we do just have to be cautious, and that's why I'm keeping my voice very, very low. Very, very soft. I don't want to disturb them or alert them, but they seem very comfortable. What we just need to watch out for now is which direction they leave the water hole, so that we don't get in their way. As I said, there's beautiful light now, the sunrise, elephants drinking. This is really such a beautiful sighting. I love seeing elephants on foot. I mean, this is probably one of my favorite things. I see they're moving away from us in that direction, which is perfect. Again, just going to wait, let them move off slowly. See, they all stopped. Now, what they're doing is often one elephant, it's amazing how they communicate. One will stop, and the whole herd stops, and they're dead quiet, and they listen and they smell, is there any danger, and then they'll move on. So come have a look, they're moving on now. There they go. Just moving away from us. That is really, really great. And quite a few different ages there. You could see some really young ones, probably 2 years old or so, judging by the size. Let's see, there they go. Maritza, they would definitely see us from this distance if we were really out in the open. But we used some cover. We used some trees just to kind of hide a little bit from them. And you can see, luckily, they couldn't see us, so just a little bit of foliage and vegetation around here, which was perfect for us. It gave us a bit of cover that we could see them, but we didn't stand out really, so they didn't see us. And also, the wind was perfect. The wind was blowing from them. We were standing downwind of them, so the wind was blowing from them towards us, so they wouldn't have smelt us. The first thing you need to do is, when you are on a walk, is check the wind direction. It's very, very important. So the wind was perfect, and fortunately, we didn't disturb them, because that's the last thing you want. You don't want to disturb an animal. So they drank, they finished, and off they went. So that was really great. See, some people, just speaking about the wind, some people use an ash bag, what we call an ash bag. Oh, bless you. Herbert, I think just, I don't know what he just inhaled there, but he sneezed. If the elephant didn't know we were here, they do now. So, as I was saying, the ash bag is, sometimes people use a sock and they put ash or talcum powder and they just dab it in the air, and then you get this little puff of powder that will very easily give you a wind direction. Or what I like to do often is I'll just pick up a bit of sand. So I just pick up some sand and I just slowly drop it, and I can see which direction the wind is blowing. So at the moment it's blowing that way, which was perfect because the elephant was standing up there. So I'll often just grab some sand and I'll just do that, which works really well. That was great. what a nice sighting. And you see, the bush is so thick at the moment. While we were walking around, I mean, because the bush is so thick, we only found these elephants literally coming around the corner. We saw them drinking at the pan, so we didn't hear them at all, which was quite interesting. Now, Mary Kay, you asked, biting flies. You asked, do these elephants ever get angry and stampede? Yes, indeed they do, especially if they pick up on the scent of a predator. So like lions, I've seen elephants, a whole herd move together and stampede and try and chase the lions away. But I mean, also with us being on foot, we have to be careful, especially with a herd of elephant when there are youngsters. The females are very protective over them, so you do have to be cautious and careful. But usually, I find elephants would choose to move away from you. So that's, but like I say, yes, they can. If they do feel threatened, and that's the main thing, if they feel threatened, they will protect themselves and they will stampede and they will run and chase whatever it is threatening them, they will chase. So, now, we've had a look around. I haven't seen tracks of these male lions yet. I'm not sure which direction they went. It looks like okay, so it sounds like what's happened is these lions moved through the bush behind me. They didn't walk on the road. They walked straight to the waterhole. Oh, wait, hang on. James has got something interesting to show you. Go look.
We have a very exciting situation here, everyone. There's some wild dogs, brilliant stuff, but also just through there, 2 leopards that Mike thinks are Hosanna and Shongile. Now it's going to get bumpy. It's going to be a little bit difficult to move through here. There's the other dogs on top of this termite mound there. And the leopards will be trying to hide from these dogs, and the dogs will be trying to get hold of them. Hitting.
Well, look at this. I know it's not quite the African wild dog. How exciting. Our secret agent and his superhero, Batman, have found some wild dogs. We'll be back with them as soon as possible, as we are live in the African bush, so things do happen from time to time. But we have a gorgeous tawny eagle. Isn't that a beautiful bird in this exquisite early morning light? And you caught me taking a snapshot or two. I'll take one more, or actually 2 more, and look at that. So quite often you'll find your big birds, or specifically your big predators, basking in the early morning, warming up, waiting for the thermals to get going. And the tawny eagle is one of our resident Aquila eagles, unlike the Wahlbergs, lesser spotted and booted, that are migrants. The tawny is going to be here all year long. Such an exquisite bird. So when I refer to Aquila eagles, it means true eagles. And if we look at his legs, you can see the feathers go all the way down to his feet. So snake eagles and non-true eagles, the feathers do not go across. But quickly across to our secret agent and his superhero sidekick.
Right, everybody, we've got a leopard in the tree over there, the 3 dogs there, another leopard in the tree just over there. I don't know who they are. We'll have a look-see now. Can't tell who that is. I'm going to move around the other way. I'll just move a little bit closer, see if we can't get a better view of who's who. This is unbelievable stuff. I know the signal is a bit dodgy here. I'm sorry about that. I just want to get to a position where we can see the other one as well. Oh, look at this. This is just phenomenal stuff. I can't see the other one. Can you, Craig?
Yeah, the leopard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on top of the tree.
It was, hey? This is quite phenomenal stuff. Dogs on the ground underneath. I am going to... Who is this now? There's blood on this leopard in this tree in front of us. That leopard in the tree has been had at. It's got blood all over its neck. I can't see who that is. Any help would be greatly appreciated, but these leopards are now safe for now. There we go. Who is that? Any ideas? That's a 3-4. Hello. Okay, I'm going to move slightly. Just get round the other side. Megan, you say, are the dogs trying to attack the leopards? Absolutely they are. The dogs will kill the leopards if they can get hold of them. And I think you'll find that the leopard lying in the tree over there has been attacked already, and that's why she's got blood all the way down her front. Now, I can't actually see the dogs anymore. The grass is so long through here. But I'm sure they must be around because the leopards are lurking in these trees. You right? You got the dogs. There's a dog. Now, Mohammed, you say, what are a group of wild dogs called? They're called a pack. Does every... I don't know who these leopards are, everyone. I would love to know from you. We had reports of them being Shongile and Hosana. I'm 90% sure that that is not the case. Yeah, the dog running to the base of the tree now. Other leopard coming down or thinking about coming down. I don't know who these leopards are. This is phenomenal. It's absolutely astounding. Yeah, stations, this is not Shungile and Hosanna. I'm not sure who they are. No, it looks like two youngsters to me. Looks like two young leopards. The one in the tree there don't look that young. No, that's not a young leopard. That one up top there that I'm looking at, that is just peeping its head out of the sun. That's Inkayeni, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to go with Inkayeni on that. Yeah. And Aqua, you reckon this is Inkayeni and Vutomi? Yeah, I would agree. Stations, looks like one of these animals is Inkayeni, so I'm assuming the other one's a cub. This is just fantastic. Now the dogs are just asleep there, as you can see. Fast asleep. And now they're waiting. And the leopards must wait as well. And we must keep our distance. Because this, as many of you will know, I have told a story of being in a very precarious position with a leopard on top of the vehicle. And that was a situation exactly like this, when dogs here she's coming down, where dogs harassed the leopard to the point that it got so angry it jumped onto the car. I think that's Inkayeni. It looks like a 4-4 female with that scuffed ear. Good grief, this is fantastic stuff. And we've got a question about how long I think the wild dogs will wait for the leopards to come down. I have no idea, I'm afraid, at this stage. Sometimes they'll just get up and go, they'll go and find something to eat. And sometimes they will wait patiently. If they've just eaten, they'll wait patiently. The leopards, of course, are the ultimately patient animals. And while the leopards are probably faster, straight line speed, they won't have the stamina of the dogs. And I mean, it would be much better for them to find a better tree than the one they're in now. I mean, they're stuck in these sort of scraggly silver cluster leaves. Now, Alana, you're wondering if the leopards aren't much stronger than the wild dogs. Are the dogs up? Absolutely they are. But they are not prepared to take a risk. They cannot afford to take a risk. If they get injured, they will never eat again. The dogs, of course, are not in that position. The dogs are able to take risks because they live in a pack. Jeepers, this is amazing. They live in a pack, and so they look after each other when they get injured. An injured leopard is a leopard that cannot eat, that cannot hunt. Now, the dogs are moving off towards the north now. I think you might find the leopards come down. This is the most phenomenal stuff. Here comes the dog again, closer to us now. I don't know where the other dog is. There are 3 of them. Have you got the others? I think it's just the 2 of them there, yeah. Wow. Let's maybe... I might sneak forward just 2 meters. Just so that we can see into that tree there. Go ahead, Shanae. I'll see what I can do. They're very thick trees at the moment, Shanae. Yeah, Shanae's just asking me. She said she saw Inkayeni yesterday, and it looked like she had suckle marks on her. This is amazing stuff. Would all of you agree that that is Inkayeni? And White Lady A1, you say if Inkayeni is supposed to have new cubs, why would Vutomi still be with her? The answer is, well, he's not quite independent yet, and so it's not unusual for that to happen every so often, for a young male especially to be still in the territory with his mother, and yeah, so it's not, that wouldn't be that unusual. But I've seen Inkayeni once or twice in my life, so I mean, I'm pretty sure that that's who that is. That's who we're looking at. I've never met Vutomi before. That's who I assume that is over there. This is just brilliant. The dog's moving slowly through the grass. I'm just not sure how long we're going to have here. So if you wouldn't mind, I'm just going to find it on the radio while you look. Mike, come in. Mike, confirm only 1 Chitwa vehicle allowed on CP at a time. Okay, copy. So will you just let me know if I need to leave? Look, look, look. Ooh! Straight up into the air. This is phenomenal stuff. Trying desperately to get at that poor little leopard. And make no mistake, if they did catch the leopard, they would cop a hell of a beating at the same time. They've just gone down through there.
Yeah. So what happened was they came across these wild dogs, and I think 2 leopards were in a tree or something. They got down.
Let's just move a little bit forward, everyone. The leopard looks like she's going to come down. I'm just going to move into a position where hopefully Craig will have a slightly better view. Okay, there you go. So James, Richard and Chris, you're confirming for me that this is Inkayeni. Have you got her there? Stuff a bit? You should be able to get her head. I think the dogs are moving south. Let me move forward, Craig. Is actually a shot of her face from where I'm sitting. There. Oh, I see in my lower angle is allowing a view of her face. sorry everybody, maybe I shouldn't have moved, but we're just going to wait for her to come down. Now Sandy, you're wondering which one is hurt. Vutomi, to me, looks like he's got blood on him. There he is. He's now looking out of the tree at us. Phew. That was tremendously exciting. Now the dogs will sometimes pull a little bit of a ruse. I can just see them through there, through the long grass, and they'll kind of pull out and pretend that they're not interested. The leopards will come down and then they'll come in again, and it's exactly what happened earlier on. Let me reverse back slightly. Wow. I tell you, I have my heart in my mouth for these things. I don't really like it, to be honest, because there's such a vicious conflict going on here, and the chances of something being really unpleasant for either the dogs or the leopards are of course really strong. There's the leopard now sitting in the tree. And then we had a question about whether wild dogs are dangerous to human beings, and the answer is no. Megan, they're not dangerous to dogs, at least to human beings at all. Whew. I tell you, we're going to stay with the leopards because the dogs, I'm afraid, are moving through some very, very thick bush. Well, Lightning Guy, here's your answer. You say, Lightning Guy, you say, are wild dogs prey for any other animal? Well, wild dog pups, absolutely to leopard. And leopard will actively seek out wild dog dens when the adults are away hunting. And that's the situation that I witnessed that one time where we ended up with that leopard male on the bonnet of the car. The leopard was looking for the dog den. He was sniffing around it, and the adults came back and they got hold of him. Right, the little one, no, he's thinking he's coming down the tree. He's looking to see the dogs. The fact that he's not down yet tells me that perhaps the dogs are actually still around and he can see them. I'm pretty sure she can see them. There's not just this wild sense of euphoria in a sighting like this. There really is a heart-in-the-mouth kind of worry that one feels. Oh, isn't this wonderful? And look at that picture of the little leopard with his head down through the trees. I'm hoping that he'll come down and we'll be able to get a better look at perhaps what has injured him and if he has been injured. Now his mother is still staring out beyond the tree that he's standing in, so I don't know that those dogs have gone. And please excuse my head getting into the picture every so often. I'm trying to sit as low as possible but still see what's going on here. Now, the beauty of Cheetah Plains is that only one Chitwa vehicle is allowed here, so we can stay for a while. Paul, you say if one of the leopards was attacked, would the other one help? Well, I don't think that the cub would help its mum. I think maybe the mum might try and help the cub, except that this cub is a little bit old now. Does anyone know exactly how old Vutomi is? but I think, yeah, there may be a little bit of help, but remember, very, very few animals out here will sacrifice their lives for their youngsters, because of course it means if they die, well then there's no point, because the cub will die anybody. And so this leopard is only 18 months old. Here he comes. Now the dogs would have heard that if they'd been stopped and not moving. He's going towards his mum, towards the tree that she's in, and of course this grass is so long. Here, she's coming down now. She comes. Whoa, big jump. Now let's see what happens when they meet up. Oh, they're running now. Together? No, just a little greeting ceremony. Okay, let's move. Hey, wasn't this special? He was. Of course, to follow them through this grass, not an easy task. Now that tree in front of us would have been a far better option. They're in amongst the blackjack bushes here. I can just see them moving or wobbling. They're obviously having a little bit of a sort of rekindling moment in amongst the trees there. Probably a bit of grooming. They are in such thick bush though. I just don't want to disturb them. Alright, while we catch up with what's going on here, let's head across to Brent and find out what's going on there.
Well, I'm not actually on Djuma. I'm in the far west of Arathusa. No one's gone looking for the Inkahumas this side, so I've done the whole Inkayeni, had a look for shadow, no luck, and now I'm going to get onto the. Oh, there's some tracks there for a hyena. And now I'm going to get onto the northern boundary, or the northwestern boundary of Arathusa, and the lions were probably about 800 meters to the northwest of this boundary last night, so I'm hoping they've come south. I apologize about the high-pitched scream. I'm just going to have to just hold on, Sensor. I'm going to just go fast and hit brakes. While I was driving the Inkayeni, a little stones obviously got caught in my brakes, so I just need to try to dislodge it. It's not working. Let's see, does it work? It did not work. Okay. I am going to go hit the cover over the brakes, and I think the stone's caught between there, but while we do that, it seems like Byron's got to flutter by.
I do indeed, Brent. A beautiful butterfly, citrus swallowtail, I believe. I think that's what that is. But I must be honest, I often see them flying. I don't see them sitting like this, so this is such a lovely view of it. It's quite peaceful, just sitting on that little branch, but it is beautiful. And what I've noticed, and I've never seen it before, it's got these beautiful little like eyes at the bottom of the back and on the front, but like a purple and a almost reddish orange color, but beautiful colors. Really is amazing. So what a nice morning, from those big elephants to this beautiful little butterfly. Oh, Fergus, I wonder, it's so happy sitting there. You might even get a nice view from here. You can see that proboscis very clearly on the butterfly. There it goes. Look at those colors. It's a very large butterfly. I'll show you shortly just how big it actually is, but it's a very large butterfly. Nice to see those colours, that yellow and black, and it actually blends in very well on the bit of vegetation that it's sitting in now, because that yellowish, almost a slight greenish colour, but with the yellow branches, some of the yellow leaves and the green grass, it blends in very, very well there. So probably be difficult for birds to pick that little butterfly out and hunt it. But like I said, it's fairly large. It's probably about that big. So a very big butterfly. Lovely to see it. Alison, I would assume they are related to the swallowtails in the USA. Now, the swallowtail is quite a large family of butterflies. There are a number of different swallowtail butterflies, and I think they are related to those ones that you get in the USA. And like I say, in South Africa, we've got quite a number of different species of swallowtail. But this is one that we see fairly regularly, and it stands out really nicely, the citrus swallowtail. Quite easy to identify, yellow and black, and because it is also such a large butterfly. So it sounds like, well, I was giving you an update earlier before James got that amazing sighting. It sounds like those lions moved out of our property, out of Djuma. They've gone north into Buffelshoek. So during the course of the night, they just got up and walked directly north and crossed over. And those lions, we know, they patrol their territory fairly regularly. And they'll move around, possibly looking for females. Not sure where the Nkahuma pride is, actually. I haven't seen them for quite some time. So if they are up in that area, those lions will possibly go and look for them. So yeah, but you never know, they could return. Maybe this evening. You know, lions move around a lot. They do cover a huge distance fairly regularly when they are marking their territory or patrolling their territory, especially those big males. Just having a good look around here. It is still quite thick in this area. We've gone through a bit of a drainage line, so it is always thick, and you do have to be careful. Look out for animals, especially buffalo. Those are animals that we need to be aware of. Now, I'm going to move out of this area. We're going to be heading east. Let's head back to Brent. And has he fixed his brakes? Are there still stones? What's going on, Brent?
Well, the brakes are no longer squeaking. And I found the leopard tracks again. I'm pretty sure it's the same ones we're following this morning. They've done a big loop. Now they've come onto the western boundary of Arathusa, and they're heading south. I just heard a little alarm call from a bird. Now I'm trying to see, because these tracks should be really fresh, because if we're following his tracks up there and he's walked a long way, and I didn't see any tracks lower down. Hi, Rebecca Smith. Rebecca Smith would like to know, do leopards normally walk as much as Tingana normally does? Well, male leopards, yes. They're constantly on the patrol, keeping the peripherals of their territory well scent marked, vocalizing, and I'm almost hoping for a vocalization right now. Let's just go forward a little bit. Now there's a nice termite mound there, and Mr. Tingana does like a good termite mound to survey around. Now there's some Impala up ahead. Let's just have a look at that termite mound. I don't see anything at the moment. Gail's asked a very interesting question, and is that, in my opinion, Dale, sorry, not Gail, would Tingana have handled the wild dog situation differently? Now, as far as I understand, if there's only 2 wild dogs, I think he would have. I mean, he's such a massive individual. He could probably give them a good off, but 3 wild dogs, ooh, that could be a bit different. Now, again, he doesn't want to risk an injury, but I have seen male leopards chase off wild dogs, but as soon as 3's even pushing, but 3, 4, and anything above, even the biggest male leopard will dash up a tree or try get away from them rather than get into conflict with them. Now, a long time ago, very, very interesting, I was following a pack of about 23 wild dogs, and they managed to catch a female leopard. Oh, here his tracks are again. Catch a female leopard, and they actually ripped her completely apart in a matter of seconds. They caught her before she could get up a tree, and the wild dogs literally just completely made that leopard disintegrate into little patches of skin in. Oh, it was 30 seconds, and that leopard was dead. So wild dogs do kill leopards, and not that often. I mean, but then again, I found wild dog puppies at a den that have been killed by a male leopard. So it goes both ways. But a big male leopard would definitely handle a situation quite differently. Okay, now speaking about wild dogs and leopards, James has caught up with the cats. Let's see what they're up to.
We have caught up with the cats, everybody. They're in this thicket, now in amongst a big ziziphus bush on a termite mound. It's not the best view in the world, but I got to tell you, they have been walking through this long, long, long grass, and Craig's exceptional eyesight has managed to keep them in view. All we had for a lot of the time was just the grass waving, and in the background you might just be able to hear some kudu alarm calling. And now they can relax a little bit in there, not perched up in a tree. Oh, this is very special. Hello, little fellow, nice to meet you. Now, I still haven't managed to see if she's got suckle marks on her or not. Shanae said that she thought Inkayeni had suckle marks yesterday. So there are a number of interesting discussion points that go with that. And if you just hold on a second, I'm just going to speak on the radio. Go ahead. I'm just trying to figure out where we are. Yeah, it's Inkayeni and Vutomi. And the dogs have gone on to Mala. So we made the right decision to stay with these cats. Right, what we'll do is move around. So what's interesting here is that this is an 18-month-old male. She may have new cubs already, and that means that when we talk about our friend Karula, our great queen, our favorite, well, most of our favorites, I'm just going to try and drive around this termite mound. What it means, oh, here we go, right in front of us here. What it means is that she might actually be mating. Maybe she's just getting ready to have more babies. Isn't that lovely? That's gorgeous. Look. And they're so different, these leopards. You know, we had reports maybe Shongila and Hosanna, and I saw this youngster and I thought, you just knew immediately that it wasn't either of them. I mean, they are, I couldn't tell you how I knew that, but they're just totally different, aren't they? Yatavon? Beautiful stuff. So let's sit here for 2 minutes and then we'll try and drive around a bit and see if we can't get another view of Mrs. And of course lots of interesting discussion to be had about if she is suckling, why, and so she's got new cubs, why would she put up with this youngster in her territory? Well, he's too young to go independent on his own, and while she must have new love for her new babies, she almost certainly remembers with affection this young fellow because he's only 18 months old. Now, in case you're wondering, Vutomi means life, which I think is a wonderful name for a leopard. Vutomi. It's very untraditional. And his mother's name is equally nice, Inkayeni, the light. Now, just take a moment to appreciate how many leopards we have driven past as they've sat in this long grass. How many countless sightings, potential sightings, we could have had. But because, well, not all of us have got eyes like Craig, Batman, Zamet, well, we haven't managed to spend that much time with him. Let's go around the other side. And very gently make our way around. We're quite close by. We don't want to make too much noise. I'm not sure that we're going to get a better view, to be honest. We'll just see if we can't see Inkayeni. There isn't a better view of Vutomi. I'm afraid he's put his head down now. No, I don't think we're going to see her either. We'll just stick the camera in there, Craig. I don't think that we're going to get her. Beautiful sighting, isn't it, Craig? Alright, we're going to sit here with these leopards. Byron has managed to find you an insect that is not quite spotted in the same way that a leopard is, but it is spotted.
That's right, James. Not quite spotted in the same way as a leopard, but it has got little spots on it, just on the back, on the abdomen. Now, this is called a velvet ant. It's quite a large little insect. Have a look at that. I actually don't want to touch it because this little velvet ant is actually part of the wasp family, and they have got a serious little sting. I've been stung by a velvet ant, I think, twice in my life, and it's not very pleasant. It burns quite a lot, but the sting is so powerful. I've been stung through my pants before, right through the shorts. So you've got to be very careful of these little guys. Beautiful little insect, velvet ant, and it does, I think it's got that velvet texture almost. It's got little hairs on the back, and also that color, that reddish little color. See how those antennae are working when I get closer to it, trying to pick up on vibrations and pick up on what we are, and if we're going to disturb it. But I'm not going to pick it up. I'll leave the velvet ant to continue on its business. But very nice little insect, lovely to see. Now, I've seen some fresh giraffe tracks too. Have a look at this. There's a lovely fresh giraffe track over there. This looks like a small one, possibly a female, and it's heading in that direction. You can actually see the split hoof of the giraffe over there, and walking in that direction. So we'll see if we can find them. It'd be nice to see some giraffe on foot, wouldn't it? We'll have a look. It's starting to warm up quite a bit. The morning started off quite cool, but now it's definitely warming up. So there are some nice fresh giraffe tracks. We'll have a look and see if we can find them. What else? Through here. Yeah, it looks like these giraffe walked all along the road. Some hyena tracks from last night. There's a lot going on. Now, Michael, these different tracks, and I do enjoy tracking. I enjoy it because it tells a story, especially when you are out on foot and you're walking around. Now, you wanted to know how long does it take to learn these tracks. Well, it does take quite some time. The best is experience working in the bush full time. You'll pick it up a lot quicker. I mean, even for someone like myself who's been out here for many years, over 10 years, 12 years, actually, yeah, about 12 years or so, like literally working in the bush full time. I still get confused with certain little tracks, and there's still tracks that I don't know. But you learn all the time. And the best is experience. I think it'll take you about 3 months, 4 months to get an idea of basic tracks like giraffe, for example, rhino, elephant, lion, buffalo, leopard. You'll be able to pick up on those tracks quite quickly, I think. They're straightforward if they are explained to you carefully, and you'll be able to identify them. Hyena tracks, definitely. So, yeah, about 3 to 4 months spending time out in the bush, seeing the tracks, identifying the tracks. So you have two parts to tracking. First you have the identification of the track. So that's just seeing a track, seeing what it is, identifying what it is, and knowing which animal it was that was there. And then you've got the following, which is very different. Now that is tricky, because the following is, once you've seen the tracks, you now have to try to find that animal. And that's not as easy. That takes time, that takes experience, and it's definitely a science. It's not tracking is completely a science. It's not something that you can just teach to somebody very quickly. Some people are a lot better than it than others. A lot of the people that work in this area, locals, and a friend of mine, Judas, who grew up tracking, he was a tracker that I used to work with. He grew up basically looking after cattle for his family, and while he was doing that, he would then see little animals run across the roads or in the bush, and he would see those tracks and go and learn them. And then that's how he learnt, and slowly but surely he would be able to follow animals very, very easily because he knew what to look for. So that is learned from a young age. So much like kids in the Western world would go to schools, that was their school. Oh, hang on, I can hear oxpeckers. Let's have a look, everybody. I'm just going to keep a look out because I can hear a lot of oxpeckers. So it could possibly be the giraffe we are looking for, but we need to be careful. It could also be maybe a buffalo or something. Let's see. Alright, okay, I'm going to have a look around here quickly. It is quite thick, so let us just check this area very, very carefully. While I do that, James has still got those beautiful leopards. Let's see what they're up to.
They're just kind of messing around inside the bush here, but they are moving. There you can see a tail, and there has been visual of faces. I think we're going to get a better view just around the other side. I'm just going to move slightly round. Yes, come on now. Yeah, there we go. Craig, if you put the camera in there. How's that? All right. Mum still looking after her youngster. Oh, look. Isn't that wonderful? That is so affectionate. There we go. He's put his head out. Lauren, you say, did I see where the blood was coming from on Vutomi? Lauren, I did. It was on his neck. We might actually get a view now. It was on his neck, I thought, but I don't see any of it now. Well, there you can see the discoloration, but his mum's been cleaning him. You can see that fur has been ruffled. I mean, there's definitely nothing that's life-threatening there. What's also interesting, of course, is his size compared with Shongile's, not Shongile's, Hosana's. He's nothing like a stocky. Totally different shape animal. It's as different as my build is to Brent Leo Smith's build, which is, I think, quite unusual for animals. You know, most Impala males, at first sight, certainly look to be almost exactly the same build as each other. Humans are a lot more varied. See, he's licking that wound. Whatever wound there was there, he's licking. It's one of the reasons, though, that these animals, dogs and cats, have got so much more skin than they seem to need. It's a great protector against being sort of punctured in crucial places. As many of you will know, those of you who have house cats and dogs, your cat around, especially around the neck, the vulnerable neck region, there's a lot of skin there.